job application form.
Yeah, right now you have to check a box stating whether you've ever been convicted of a crime. But is that fair to felons hoping to turn their lives around? Fox 35's Kirsten Delgado has the story.
I have one felony on my record. That was it. And it's haunting me for the rest of my life.
LaShanna Tyson is an ex-convict released from prison in 2011 after serving 13 years. Today, she's a community organizer and real estate agent. Though she has persevered, Tyson says she was told no to everything from housing and unemployment to education.
They're judging me based upon a box that I check, not upon my character or about how hard I work or how I could contribute to their company.
Tyson is a community organizer with Faith in Florida, an organization that works to fight against social injustices. Faith in Florida teamed up with the Vicention Reentry Organizing Project, the initiative behind the Ban the Box effort.
It gives someone the opportunity to at least display their qualifications for a particular job without being disqualified based on the stigma of a criminal record.
Louis Douglas with Cavallero Staffing Services works with companies to find employees. He says he understands an employer's concern with hiring an individual with a record.
A lot of times, with the box being present, it may eliminate some of the candidates, but, depending on the scope of the crime dictates whether or not they should be available for that type of position.
Tyson says she's more than just a checked box, and so are many others coming out of prison.
Whether you get caught or not, everyone makes a mistake. But when a person has paid that debt, they shouldn't continue to be punished. That's like you paying for your mortgage on your house for 30 years. You get to the last payment and they tell you got to start over again.
Kirsten Delgado, Fox 35 News.
And joining me this morning is Mykal Tairu, who you saw in that story there. Thank you so much for coming in. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Let's start, Mykal, talking about how difficult it really is for someone who is an ex-offender to find employment.
Right. So, it's no surprise that when folks get out of prison that they're barred from not just employment, but housing and different things of that nature and their civil rights in the state of Florida. And we know that employment is a necessary component to reentry, right? And a lot of times folks, their employment status is relegated to that box on the application that inquires of their criminal past. And that application, if it's checked, it oftentimes ends up in the trash can.
Yeah, and right now you're saying, hey, employers, just get rid of the box.
Right.
We're not saying don't do criminal background checks. Eventually, we just want you to meet this person face-to-face first, right?
Exactly. So I say this all the time. My wife is a teacher, right? And so when we were working with vulnerable populations, maybe the elderly or kids, we don't want folks that may not be compatible working with these populations, right? And so we're not saying, Ban the Box isn't saying we cannot look at your background. Ban the Box is saying, I'm not going to look at your background until I'm ready to hire you. And so how about we just take that box off the initial application and postpone it to later on in the hiring process, where you have an opportunity to actually display your qualifications before checking a box that oftentimes ends up in the trash.
Yeah. Well, right now you're working with the cities of Orlando and Daytona Beach to kind of get this initiative to the employers. What do you say to bosses out there who say, I want to know if someone is a criminal before I invite them into my business? How do you try to change their mind on this?
Yeah, well, so I point them to different folks who have been released from prison and are trying to do things and be productive citizens, right? There are many folks around this city and all of our cities that are trying to be productive citizens and contribute to society. I would point them to those people. I would point a lot of the organizers we work with are formerly incarcerated individuals who are doing well. And so just because, there may be one case where someone actually abused the system, that doesn't speak for the millions of people who are being released from prison each year.
Yeah, because a lot of these people being released aren't violent criminals, right?
Right. Most people who are in prison aren't violent criminals at all. And so usually it's non-violent, oftentimes drug offenses. People made a mistake and they're getting out of prison and want to be productive citizens again. And they did their time and they should be able to do such.
Yeah. Well, how can people learn more about the project?
Yeah, so they can go like us on Facebook. Our Facebook page is Ban the Box Daytona, where they receive updates and different things of that nature about the campaigns.
All right. Thank you so much for coming in, Mykal. We appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Good luck.